Hello, my name is Acidical Portal, and today I'm going to be reviewing a set that I've already opened. Uh-oh. So this is called the set of 8 puzzles, and they're all historical figures that were somehow important in like some way in the past. But the actual puzzles themselves are pretty uh, brain bleeding, if you ask me. The pieces, they're kind of like optical illusions in a sense. So everything goes into each other kind of like in a really weird way. So I'm gonna read about each of the back sides right here that it says on the package. I also got this as a gift, by the way, kind of like the chemistry set that I reviewed in one of my last videos. So we're gonna start with the first one. Napoleon's cannonballs. Can you build a pyramid using the wooden cannonballs? So it wants us to build. It says Napoleon. I can't read that, but he's French. And you know who I'm talking about. Emperor of France from 1804 to 1814. Oh yeah, and he was born in 1769, died in 1821. Again, briefly in 1815, he was one of the greatest military geniuses of all time. He dominated continental Europe with a combination of huge armies and massive cannon power, and he was short. He even led a military archaeological expedition to Egypt and personally visited the the Great Pyramid of Cheops. The empire he created was eventually defeated by a grand coalition led by the Duke of Wellington at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815, and he was exiled to the Isle of Elba. So, yeah, that's a brief history of him. So the parts on this, actually, give me a sec. So the parts on this one right here, this is a pyramid, or was a pyramid. So what it wants me to do is create a pyramid out of these, which I don't know if I'm going to be able to do. But the way that it's set up, it's meant to be very challenging. So these are all the pieces right here, and they all kind of sort into that like pyramid shape, but they're all like cannonballs, and I guess that's why they talked about Egypt and stuff, because of the pyramids. So they're just individual pieces. Some of them have, are you kidding me? Some of them have 3, some of them have 4. I'm gonna read about the next one now. Cassini rings. So Giovanni Cassini, he was an astronomer. They named the spacecraft after him. Separate the rings. Can you reattach them? So what it wants us to do is make these rings be able to make them. They want us to take these apart, and then they want us to like. Now something's weird about this. They look like handcuffs almost. Let me just read about him. An Italian mathematician, astronomer, and engineer, Cassini is best known for his work in the field of astronomy. He discovered that the planet Saturn was surrounded by the series of rings, in addition to 4 moons. He moved to Paris in 1669, where he served as the astronomer to Louis XVI, the Sun King, for the rest of his life. Whilst in the post, he was the first to determine the distance between Earth and Mars, which allowed estimations of the dimensions of the solar system to be made. So he was a very important figure, and yeah, that's him right there. It's hard to see, but that's the thing on the box, and that's the actual rings themselves. So the third one is Drake's Bowl. So, off camera, I was trying to deconstruct this, and I was like, what the heck is this? You know? So basically, this was like a ball at one point, right? So you can kind of tell with that they break apart, but it just pretty much fell apart, and these are all the different pieces. That's what it looks like. It's pretty trippy, actually. I bet I could figure it out if I really studied it, but I think the point is really to figure out what works and what doesn't. And as you can see, that's what it's supposed to end up into right there. Pretty crazy. So I'm going to read about Sir Francis Drake, 1540 to 1596. Oh yeah, and by the way, Cassini was 1625 to 1712. An English sea captain, privateer, and navigator, Sir Francis Drake was the darling of both Queen Elizabeth I and the English people. He was only the second person to circumnavigate the globe, and he was constant scourge to the Spanish bullion ships, coming from the Americas before his victory over the Spanish Armada in 1588. He was playing bowls at Plymouth, Hoe, and when told of the arrival of the Spanish fleet, he famously remarked that he had time to finish his game and still defeated the Armada. So that's a brief history of Sir Francis Drake. And so he played like a game, I guess, and it wants us to like sort these together to see if I can turn it into a ball. But every single one of the pieces looks the same, and it would have to be used made out of this. Think about that. That's some big brain stuff. Even so much for me. The next one is, if you're American, you know who this guy is. It's Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson, 1743 to 1826. Separate the nails. Can you reattach them? So it wants us to separate these and try reattaching them, which I have no idea if it's possible or not. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. I'm gonna read his thing. The principal author of the Declaration of Independence and the third President of the United States, 1801 to 1809, Thomas Jefferson was an American founding father, a leader of the Enlightenment. He advanced the principles of republicanism and the rights of the individual and drafted and signed a bill that banned slave importation into the United States. In addition, his interest in science resulted him in creating the first mass production nail manufacturing operation in America. So that's why they're doing the nails. So what I notice is every single person in here, there's some sort of importance to the actual puzzle itself. There's always some sort of importance. But anyways, yeah, probably not going to figure these out. Alright, the next one is Khufu's pyramid. Separate the pieces, can you rebuild the pyramid? And this is a different pyramid, this is not the same one. In fact, there's only 3 pieces for this one. But it looks much, much harder than you think. Like, this is what this piece is shaped like. Yeah. Let's read about this guy. 2589 to 2566 Avant JC definition. Well, for like, but before the modern times, anyways. Khufu the Great, or Cheops, as is perhaps better known, was an ancient Egyptian pharaoh of the 4th dynasty in Egypt. Old Kingdom. Little is known of his reign except that he had great wealth and authority. That's good to know. And had the foresights and vision to command the construction of one of the greatest edifices of all time. The Great Pyramid of Giza, his eventual tomb, It is thought to have taken over 30 years to build and has dominated the horizons of Cairo for over 4,500 years. But still, even back then, 5,000 years ago, that's still impressive being able to build a pyramid. You know what I'm saying? That's still impressive either way. Unless there's the aliens, of course. So, yeah. Good luck trying to sort this together because the pieces that you think should go together don't go together. It just ends up looking like that. Yeah. And there's so many different sides to it. There's literally thousands of different ways that you could put this and it could still not be right. These are extremely hard puzzles. This is big IQ stuff. This is one of my favorite historic people, actually. Tesla's coil, Nikola Tesla, as you know. Can you remove the ring from the spring? So that would be this right here. Yeah, it's a big spring. Spring. Yes. Anyways, can you remove? No, we already read that. 1856 to 1943. So he died during World War II. Not a great time. A Serbian-American inventor, an electrical and mechanical engineer. In 1891, he developed an electrical resonant transformer circuit known as Tesla's coil, because his last name. This was used extensively in the early 20th century in radio transmitters and wireless telegraphy. Tesla also used his coil to conduct many innovative experiments in electrical currents. Renowned for his achievements in electrical conductivity and his showmanship, he earned a reputation in popular culture as the archetypical mad scientist. Because electricity, and you see that in like cartoons and all that, the crazy scientist, he's got the chemistry, chemicals everywhere, and then he's got like the electricity ball or whatever. Unfortunately, I actually know a bit about Tesla. He actually died poor, which is unfortunate for him because he was a genius. Him and Thomas Edison were kind of competing to give out the best invention of effective electricity. So like the light bulb, for example. Tesla actually came up with the light bulb, not Edison. They kind of worked together, but then kind of Edison screwed him off. But he was a better advertiser. And Edison kind of took the hold for kind of being the one in charge of making the light bulb. But there's a lot of controversy right there. I'm not going to get into it. Oh yeah, so this next guy, another one who died poor, Vincent Van Gogh. So separate the pieces, can you rebuild the box? So this was actually one of the only ones that I didn't actually make come apart, but I can't really get it in either, as you can see. There's just this like very trippy structure right here made of this very tan fine wood. It's probably glazed or something, painted, or I don't know. Let's read about him. Vincent van Gogh, 1853 to 1890, so he wasn't that old. He's only 37. Yeah, 37, 36 or 37, because he committed suicide, unfortunately. A Dutch post-impressionist artist, his works are among the world's most valuable paintings. His use of bold colors and swirling brush strokes produced unique landscapes paintings, and his prolific portraits and self-portraits were full of emotional intensity. His work had a far-reaching influence on the 20th century art. Perhaps he is the most famous for cutting off his own ear. That was him that did that, not Leonardo da Vinci. People get that messed up. During one of his many periods of mental anxiety and presenting the ear in a box to his friend and fellow painter Paul Gauguin, I don't know. I'm so sorry. I'm kind of dyslexic, so sometimes I have a hard time reading these. Okay, the last one is this interesting thing. It's kind of similar to the other ones. I don't know how to get this out, obviously, without like forcing the parts out, which is not a good idea. Um, so I probably shouldn't do that. Man, this could take hours to actually try to figure out. Anyways, uh, Wolfgang Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, 1756 to 1791, a prolific and brilliant composer of the classical era. Mozart's musical genius showed from an early age. He was composing and also performing in front of European royalty at the age of 5. That's insane. During his short life, he composed over 600 works. I think he was only like in his 30s when he died as well. But back then, dying when you're 30 would be dying like when you're 60 today. Still not super old, but back then it was like, would be impressive to live to that age. Many consider the pinnacles of symphonic, chamber, operatic, and choral music. His influence on all subsequent musical composition is immeasurable as his enduring popularity. Yeah, no shit. He made some really good stuff. I'm a fan of classical music myself, so, and I've listened to a lot of his stuff. He died at the age of 35, so yeah, I was right. While still writing the Requiem, arguably his most famous and exquisite work. So he wasn't even done writing his last piece when he died. So that's pretty much all the reviews for this. This is a really cool box, though. I mean, look at it. I got that glare on this light. I apologize, but it's still a really cool box to look at. The fact that like there's always something to go to it. So I'm gonna put it back in the box, and it should slide in like that. So if I put it in like this, no wait, no, it's actually these two need to be reversed. So that's actually cool. I kind of find it funny that Thomas Jefferson had slaves, but he's trying to ban slavery. It's just kind of ironic. And I actually didn't know some of these. I actually knew, the only ones I didn't know was Drake's Bowel. I mean, I knew he was kind of like a Renaissance, not really Renaissance, but like that 1500s era England. And I didn't know who this guy was because I don't know much about Middle Eastern history, which I really do want to know about. Egypt seems like actually a very interesting country. I want to visit there one day. But anyways, that's about it for this video. If you like my content, please subscribe. I'm always coming out with more stuff. I love making these videos. I really do. If you like it. If you dislike it. Even like either way, like or dislike, it gives me feedback. You know, good or bad, whatever. It's better than nothing. So, like I said, if you like my content, I got this flashlight right here. If you like my content, please subscribe. It'd really help this channel out. Because this shit ain't over, man. This channel's gonna go somewhere one day. Alright. Have a good rest of your day, guys. See ya.